All right, everyone. We are live. Everything's looking good. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. And welcome to kind of a special day, I guess, but nothing really too fancy. We kind of just get on with work. But today is the 1 year anniversary of live streaming every day for 365 days. Not every day, every weekday, I guess. And then I think I took a couple, probably maybe 10 days or so off because once we drove to Ontario, and then the other one we drove to St. John's, Newfoundland for work. We were doing stuff for clients. Anyways, but yeah, it's been pretty much a year of of these live streams. So welcome. My name's Odum. This is the Unconventional Mindset, and we get together here and we do work to try to build ourselves a company that's hopefully going to generate us $1 million in revenue every single year. So quite the journey so far. Where to start? Just talking. I figure maybe I just spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of a recap, maybe talking about the positives and negatives throughout throughout the year, and maybe talk a little bit about where I kind of see this thing going and how I want to kind of continue on with this live stream and how I want it to function and what purpose it's going to serve, I guess, in the grand scheme of trying to build this company. Notice that there's a couple people here in the stream. Welcome. And just at any time, if you have any questions or whatever, just leave them in the chat. Say hello, what have you. Always good to hear and see from you guys. So let's, saying no data now. What's going on here? Let me, do I have my phone? Where is my phone? I don't have my phone, so I can't check to see if we're actually live. I assume we are. The number's ticking down, so we're just gonna assume it's live. That's not what I wanted to show. There we go. Rolando, welcome. Congratulations on your discipline and consistency. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for your consistency and discipline of showing up to these live streams. I find that super impressive. So I really appreciate that support. Okay, so let's go quick, I guess, and I'll just get into the positives and negatives that I found over the past year, just 1 year. So the first thing is about the live streams themselves. I actually really enjoy doing this. It's just a lot of fun for me. I don't know what it is, but just sitting down with a microphone and a camera and just talking, I just find that sometimes it's kind of relaxing, it's kind of soothing. And for me to just sit down and talk, it just helps me get a little bit of clarity of the things that are bouncing around in my head. Because I often have lots of different ideas that are floating around. And doing this in this stream and in this format just really helps me bring my ideas into focus and just to get clear on what I want. Because I've always thought that to know if you really know something, like if you'd be a good teacher at something. If you can't explain a concept, clearly and articulate your ideas or your thoughts very well, you probably don't understand it very well. So you probably can't be like a good teacher. I don't even know why I said teacher, but just even to understand something, if you can't explain it, it means you probably don't have a good grasp. And I've learned that when I'm here talking to myself and I'm trying to talk about a concept or something that I'm trying to do in my business, and I can't clearly define it or I can't articulate what I want to say, it's like, oh, you know what? I need to take a minute, go back to the drawing board and just kind of rethink this because it's not really clear in my mind. So yeah. So it's been a really big positive for me, and I've really enjoyed that. So Rolando, he said, you've learned a lot from them, from my thoughts, my ramblings, believe it or not, about how to do and how not to do things. That's the beauty of the internet. You learn a lot in other people's heads. Yeah, absolutely. I have to fix this. Yeah. Now I'm looking at this comment now. It's a little bit too stretchy. I got to fix that. Yeah, absolutely. And kind of like a lot of smart people that have said this before is, what is the phrase, standing on the heads of giants? Like if somebody has already put the blood, sweat, and tears into learning something and then they could disseminate that knowledge to other people, and you could you can like absorb that information and, you know, take on the torch or whatever and follow through in what they've learned. That gives you a leg up, right? So you don't have to make those same mistakes as well. So yeah, there's definitely, I mean, I learned a whole lot from other people as well too. So it's great. But it's great to hear that, you know, I could provide some of that value as well, which is really, really cool. So yeah, so those are really like the positives for me. Just enjoy doing it. It's in some ways it's relaxing, helps me gain clarity, and then helps me figure out what my direction is going to be. So in terms of the negatives, there's a few negatives I'll say. And number one, first and foremost, it has to do with my health and my back. So if you've seen any of my other videos on this channel, for the longest time, I've struggled with like lower back pain just from sitting down and, you know, bad posture and all that kind of stuff. And it's ebbed and flowed in terms of whether I'd be severely impacted by it or it would just be like, you know, just kind of this kind of pain in the background. But it's always been an issue. And part of it, I think, is my fault in the sense that I have just like this cheap chair, and I think I need to really invest on getting a really good ergonomic chair, which is really expensive. So I'm kind of worried about that. And oh, hang on. Got Andrea's here. Andrea's my wife, of course. Congratulations on 1 year of live streaming. We're so proud of you and love you. Love you guys so much. And one thing to say too is, I was going to say this a little bit later, but I guess I'll say it right now, is none of this would be possible, obviously, without the support of my family. And yeah, you know, it's not, you know, if I'd have to go to work, I'd have to go to work, and, you know, family would support that anyways because I'd be gone. But even just being here, I'm still in the house, and, you know, they know when I'm live, and, you know, they try to keep it down or whatever to help me out that way. So yeah, I can't really do things without having the proper support at home too, which is nice. So what was I saying? Just about sitting down and my health. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, it just kind of sucks when I know I want to sit down for, say, even to do something longer, but then my back hurts. And then sometimes my back's hurting quite a bit. Then it makes it harder for me to come sit down later on after my live stream to do more work on the business. So that's just something internally that I need to figure out how to find that balance between making sure I can produce the content that I want to do and I can keep working on the work that I enjoy, but also making sure I take care of my health, because at the end of the day, if I can't sit down or I'm unhealthy, I can't do anything. So that's super important. So something to consider as well too, if, you know, you're on the computer all day, every day, you just want to make sure you're, I don't know, you're really ergonomic and whatever. So Andrea, the one thing too is, I always tell Andrea about, liking my videos, to drop a like. And at the start too, it's like, Andrea, if I can't even get you to like my videos, who else is going to like my videos? So the HP gaming chairs are quite comfortable, and I've been using them for a little over 6 months. And the truth is, they have taken away my back pain. I recommend you take a look at them. So HP gaming chairs. So the chairs that I've been looking at, or the one that I have in my eye to buy, is the Herman Miller, and it's a Logitech gaming chair, and it's part of the Embody series. And that chair is $2,000 Canadian, and after like shipping or taxes, it's $2,500. So that's like probably about 2,000 American, something like that, 1,900 American. That's a lot of money to spend on a chair. You know, I could buy like a new computer for that price. So I don't know if that HP gaming chair is similar in price point, but when you hear like, oh, it's taking away your back pain, and I even talked about this to Andrea, and I say, you know, I'm thinking about this chair. She's like, just buy it. Like, stop. I've been talking to her about it for like over a year now. Because if it could eliminate the back pain, I would pay $2,500, no problem, to eliminate the back pain. So yeah, I will. But the HP gaming chairs, I'm just going to write that down, because if it works, it works. And yeah, and everyone has different types of lower back pain as well too, and depending what things are from. But mine's are definitely from sitting from back in when I was a graduate student looking inside a microscope for like 8 hours a day doing a bunch of taxonomy stuff. Yeah, that takes a toll on your back, and it was just like the world's worst chair. So anyways, so that's the number one most difficult thing, which is not that bad in the grand scheme of things in terms of actually doing a live stream. Number two, the second thing was that some days, oh, hang on a second. So the Herman Miller chairs, yeah, they are very expensive, and you tried them at a friend's office, and it's not worth it. The HP chair cost $380 US, so like maybe 500 Canadian. Yeah, so the thing that is difficult to know is if you can't actually sit in a chair and try it and almost use it for like 2 or 3 weeks just so your body can get accustomed to it, it's hard to know what's going to be comfortable or not. So I'll take a look at the HP. I mean, if I can spend $500 instead of spending $2,500, I could buy 5 chairs for that price. Then that would be a whole lot better. So yeah, so it's interesting. But point well taken. And again, that's why I've struggled and I haven't purchased the chair, because I'm just so afraid of making a bad purchase and spending all kinds of money, and it in the end it doesn't work or makes things worse. So, but a lot of reviews on YouTube say, give it a try. It just takes 3 weeks for your body to get adapted to it. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I got to look at like return policies as well. If I could buy a chair and then return it. So anyways, I'm probably going to have to get something within the next couple days. I actually tried to buy a chair yesterday, and then they called me back and says, yeah, we don't have it in stock. I'm like, oh my goodness, why does it say it was in stock? Anyways, so yeah, it's negative thing of live streaming every day. The second part is some days it could be pretty hard to put yourself out there. And it can be, you can have some feelings of vulnerability. Like for me, I have really thick skin. You could say whatever it is you want about me. It's not going to affect me. And I know if you're coming through at a place of constructive criticism or whatever, all the more, like that's so much better. I've had people say some pretty bad things about me online over the past, not with this, but for other things. It's like, they're dealing with their own insecurities or whatever. But that being said too, you are putting yourself in a state of vulnerability, especially for me, if I'm saying, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to do this. I'm trying to make this. I've never done this before. So I'm probably going to look stupid in a lot of different things because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm kind of learning live as we go. So, so that can be difficult. And I guess maybe more so a little bit of something to think about if you're thinking about doing a live stream or what have you. And it kind of goes with something that I would say in terms of being like a key lesson or key takeaway is just always be like authentic and be yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have to stay true to yourself, and you can't try to pretend to be something or someone that you're not, especially if you're doing it live all day, every day. People are going to see through that like a mile away, because you're going to change who you are. You're not going to remember what you said or whatever, but just being yourself. It's like there's nothing to try to think about. You just be yourself, and yeah. So it can be hard, but it's just something to work through. And the last thing that I say would be difficult would be trying to come up with content. So I know a lot of this is, I kind of see this as, hey, we're just building something and we're trying to figure it out. And, and some days it's just like, hey, let's just work together. I'm working on my business. You're working on your business. Let's just kind of do this thing. But some days, I think maybe more early on, the first couple months, the first few months, it was like, well, what am I going to live stream about today? Because, I'm just still trying to kind of figure things out. And I wasn't sure where I was going and what direction I was going to head in. So those things were a little bit difficult in trying to figure out what the content was going to be, especially since more often than not, I would be live streaming to myself. So then it's like, do people like this? What's going on? So, but yeah, you just kind of plug away. But yeah, other than that, again, I just, way more positives than negatives. I really enjoyed it. And, just getting warmed up. Right. So I'm not starting this at all. It's just starting to get, it's just starting to get really good. So it's exciting. So, so what you admire about your transmissions is your courage in venturing to express your ideas despite criticism and fighting day by day to achieve your goal. That, at least to me, inspires me. Thank you. That is awesome. That's really, really wonderful to hear, and really great for you to say. So thank you. And that's kind of what I was saying is just putting yourself out there. Sometimes you could put yourself in a vulnerable position, but I think that's what people can relate to and relate with. And like Rolando, I know for you, like there's a lot of people that come on the stream. I'm just like, just be great one day to just sit down at some point in time and get together and just like have a beer or something, or a tequila or what have you, especially when you're kind of connecting with like-minded people. So it's really good. Thank you. So what would I want to do better on the stream? So there's really not too much in terms of like, there's things that I could do in terms of the production value. I think production value is probably the thing that bothers me the most, in that I would like to figure out a way how to have better interactions with the audience, with the chat, or with people that come in and comment and interact. So I haven't really quite figured out how to do that, but that's something that I would like to do. And maybe think about how to structure the live stream that makes it more, maybe more like a show. Like, I don't know. Because initially, as I was saying before, the hard part was trying to figure out what my content was going to be. But if I had some type of scheduled program, I did try this before where, Mondays we're going to do like a recap of what we're going to work on for the rest of the week. Tuesdays was going to be about tools, and Wednesdays was like WEBFLOW Wednesdays, and Thursdays was, marketing. So I tried that. I was like, it's not really working because I don't really know what the business is doing yet. But maybe having something like that, or having a better structure, that might be beneficial in the future. I'm not sure. It might help people know that, hey, I'm really interested in WEBFLOW. Maybe I'll tune in for your WEBFLOW episodes. But if you're talking more behind the scenes business stuff, or accounting, or finances, or whatever is more business related, maybe other people would want to tune in for that. So I'm just trying to figure out, is there anything that I can do to make this production a little bit more engaging and entertaining, as opposed to me just sitting down and talking, which I love doing, and I think people are enjoying. But I always think of what can I do better, right? There's always room for improvements. I certainly don't have the whole live stream game like totally what's the word I'm looking for? Like figured out or whatever. Okay, so then what's next? So I think actually one thing, I'll talk about this here in terms of what's next. So the first year of this whole live stream, if you look back at all the other videos, especially the first 6 to 9 months, was a lot of me going back and forth. There's lots of things that I started and then I abandoned. I think right at the start, I was going to build, and I started building a tool that was going to help me bill out my clients so that I could send out invoices automatically and send them payments and all that kind of stuff. So it was basically like a freelancer tool. So I started doing that, and then I realized quickly that I couldn't do it on my own, and I wasn't going to be able to get the help that I needed to do the backend development for it. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't do that. So there was a lot of flip-flopping. There was a lot of not really knowing what direction I was going to take. So I was really trying to figure out what the hell it is that I'm going to sell. So that was kind of year one. And now for me, I think it's pretty clear. Like I'm selling, well, there's Pixel. I build websites for clients. And even that I need to niche down a little bit. I'm probably going to focus on the academic industry. But then it's like, I'm building WEBFLOW components, and that's going to be selling to, freelancers or designers or whatever. It's like, it's pretty clear. So the second year, I think, is going to be more geared towards, now, how do you actually sell something that you've built? And it's like, let's go on the process of getting customers, retaining customers, how are we going to market things, all that kind of stuff. Now that we've built something, let's figure out how to sell it. So kind of the next step in the business process, I guess, you can say. So what I would like to see in the streams, a little more of the methodical and scientific process of how you structure the designs, a little more of the creative process. So that is a really interesting comment, because I really like that. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is, this kind of goes into what's next for what I'm going to be doing here, is that this stream, like I said, it's a lot about the whole business and like, let's work together and figure out how to market and sell this business. But I think what I'm going to be doing is the whole Pixel brand and the whole thing about designs and development, basically even more about designs and creativity. That stuff is going to flow into Pixel itself. And those types of content, I think I'm going to spend a lot of time making more like long form YouTube content that's not like a live stream, but is more of a, hey, here's a 20-minute video on my creative process and how to create things and what have you. And my goal is, which is part of the whole marketing strategy, is to develop a huge library of really, really high quality content that can take someone from, I have absolutely no idea how to design, I don't know what it is, but I want to learn, to being able to build their own websites and applications and what have you, and be pretty good at, usability and user experience and all that kind of stuff. So basically try to take my 15 years of knowledge of doing this stuff and kind of dump it all out and give it to people. So yeah, because I think in that type of format is much better for me to be able to actually deliver that to you guys, as opposed to doing it here in the live stream. That being said, there's certainly going to be times, especially in the next couple weeks, where I'm going to be doing like designing, with you guys or whatever on the stream. And if there's any questions in terms of like what I'm doing and like why I'm designing something a certain way, just ask me, in the chat, just like, hey, what the hell, why are you doing this way or whatever? And that's good for me. And then I could just talk things out loud. Sometimes when I'm designing, I don't know when I'm live, I think I'm getting a little bit better at kind of talking out what I'm doing while I'm doing it. But sometimes I just want to get it done and I'm just kind of doing it. Especially if I see that there's nobody kind of in the stream, right? So I'm just kind of working away. But that's really good. And I love the whole, obviously I'm a scientist myself. So let's get down into the science of why to do things a certain way. And when you analyze kind of the data and whatever, and how people kind of interact with applications, it's really, really kind of cool stuff. So that's next. So that's part of the live stream and kind of teasing out what I'm going to be doing for Pixel itself in terms of the educational tutorial aspect of it. And the second thing is I would like to somehow bring more of a behind the scenes feel to this live stream of kind of what it's like to run a business. And I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I don't know, that's definitely not anything that's going to come anytime soon, I don't think. But I'd love to set up like multiple camera angles and maybe set up this place more of this whole office. So there's like different working environments, so that if I'm working here, we're working on something on my computer. But if I wanted to go to like the whiteboard and start drawing out some concepts or whatever, or thinking about certain concepts, like I really love to get really analytical in my thought process. And I like to get visual and creative and start sketching things and thinking about ideas. And, I could just deck my whole office out with cameras and just have a real kind of cool environment where, different days we're working on different things, and maybe I'm having client calls and client interactions, and maybe those kinds of things I could put live as well too, to get, again, these kind of like behind the scenes processes of building a company and running a company. And maybe I think that's where it'll come to. It'll get to the point where I'm running the company, and I guess also building it. But when I say right now I'm building a company, it's almost as if like, well, I'm just building the product and I haven't even sold anything yet. So we're at that stage. But when I get to this other thing of working in the business, where it's like, hey, I'm getting 10 customers a week, or 100 customers a month, or whatever the case may be, and there's actual traction going into the business, I think that's where it's really going to start getting exciting. And hopefully even within the next month, as we release Pixel Pieces and we actually start getting paying customers, I think there's going to be some really, really cool things that we can start to explore together, as because I think that's a really hard point for people to get to when they have an idea and they develop a minimal, viable product or whatever, and then they put it to market. and then they get like no customers, or they just get a few. It's like, how do you break out of that bubble? So I don't know. I think that's a point that a lot of people struggle with, So that's going to be it's going to be really, really interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what that looks like, but that's, in the future. I gotta fix this thing. This is really bothering me. The whole thickness. Maybe I can fix it real quick, and I'll worry about it later. A question that I have had for a long time: what camera do they use to transmit, and what internet speed do you have? Transmission is super fluid and incredible image quality. So I do have a 1 gig bandwidth speed that I have here. So it's like what is it called? It's like fiber. It's like fiber cable. So yeah, it's 1 gig. I have 1 gig upload and 1 gig download as well too. I guess the upload is what's really important for me. So I have really good bandwidth, and then I pay for it too. Actually, it's not that bad. Well, actually, it is really bad. It's like 111 Canadian a month, like after tax or something like that, or 115, something like that. So it's pretty expensive, but yeah, I mean, I need it. It's my business, so I guess I write it off. So that's that. And the camera that I have, I am using a Sony A7C, which is, I think it's about like a $2,500 camera. Sorry, again, this is like Canadian dollars. And I have on there, I have a Sigma 1.4 35 millimeter lens, and that lens is about $1,000. So you don't need this kind of fancy stuff to run it. I mean, the equivalent would be like this camera. I have another one here, which is an A7 IV, and then there's a 50 mil lens, which I've used this one every once in a while as well too. But I kind of have this one for taking pictures or whatever. But you can get stuff much cheaper to get you like 90% of the way there, at least in terms of the looks here. And then I have a key light here and another light. This key light was a pretty cheap light. I think it was like $150-$200. Just a simple Godox 60 watt light bulb with kind of a soft light dome. And I got a couple more lights as well too for key lights and stuff. But I could definitely go more in detail about the tech stuff, because I love the tech stuff, like cameras and gear and all that kind of stuff. That's really, really, really cool. So, but like even like a Sony 6000 or whatever with a Sigma 1.4, I think it's it's a crop sensor, so it's the like 16 mil, which is a 24 millimeter equivalent. Something like that would be just fine, and you're going to get a crisp, clean 4K image as well coming from that camera. So, and you can get those ones even used for a few $100. So they're pretty cheap. So I don't know if there's anything else I could say in terms of the camera. And I just use I have a capture card in my actual PC. So I have built a PC just specifically for this or for the company. And that just has an Elgato like 4K 4-channel capture device. So you just HDMI out from the camera, goes into the computer, and then away you go. And then I could have multiple cameras. I had multiple cameras, but when you do, I could switch the views and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. And then the third thing that I was thinking about in terms of what we could do next for the live stream is maybe have guests coming in like during an episode. So if there was an episode where, hey, we're going to be figuring out how to, I don't know, whatever, design something in WEBFLOW, bring on like another WEBFLOW guy and say like, ask them questions. What do you do about this? Or what are you thinking about all this? So I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if that would take this away because it's more of a business thing. So I'm not sure exactly, but I think that would be, pretty cool. So I will say, I want to show this, right here, because I want to talk just real quickly, about, kind of the key lessons. So kind of like 3 key lessons that, I've learned and that I've taken away from doing this every single day for the past year. The number one, of course, is patience. So if you take a look at here, so this is when I started, January 23rd. I started at 52 subscribers. So I already had 50 from all the stuff that I've done for the past like 10 years or whatever. And it was like a very slow process, at least in terms of the number of subscribers that were subscribed to the channel. And I got to 100 here on August 17th. So that's like January. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So like 6 months, 6 or 7 months. Anyways, I think it's 7 months to get to 100, to grow to like 50 subscribers. And a lot of the times, if you look at all the videos, my initial videos, the first whatever, so August, a lot of them, it was me just streaming to myself, just talking to myself, and just trying to figure things out. So the key takeaway is like patience and dedication. And, you know, if you don't see any growth or success or however that means to you, just keep plugging away and just keep going. And eventually kind of, you know, people will find you or whatever. And then, yeah, since that came up, I mean, again, am I doing amazingly awesome in terms of, you know, having millions of subscribers or whatever on YouTube? No, I'm at 342. But I'm super happy with this number because I see here, as soon as I got to 100, I don't know if that's just YouTube, oh, you're at 100 people now, so now we can start maybe showing your videos more to other people or whatever it is, but, you know, have a much better steady kind of growth in terms of how many people are subscribing. And then I've also seen a steady kind of growth in how many people actually watch each one of these live streams, whether there's actually people that are watching live, which is always cool because I can kind of always see people kind of popping in and out on the stream, which is cool. Or people that just watch it kind of after the fact, which is really, really cool. So just stick with it. If you're running a business, whatever kind of business it happens to be that you're running, just stick with it because you'll find success, I guess, unless it's a really, really bad idea. But if you've been doing something for a year or 2 years and like you can't get one single person, you know, then maybe you could think that you have a really bad idea. But more often than not is, you know, you just didn't put forth the time and effort that it might take to get something to go. But it's really good too, because as I said before, one of the key benefits that I've had is that I've been able to learn how to improve on how I speak and how I could bring my thoughts into, you know, into focus with me being able to explain things. So it's kind of a learning process. So you always take things as a way to grow. So what video or topic did you play when you went from 100 to 130 subscribers? I ask, in just over a month, you grew 30%. Yeah, so in August, I think, well, let me bring this up here. Because the thing is that just because I necessarily got that 30%, it's not necessarily the actual video that I released. It could just be that one of the videos kind of took off, right? So I haven't dug deep into the analytics to see exactly which, like what video it was that made me kind of take off there. But that being said, I can have a look at, I'll bring this on screen here in a second. Content. Okay, so if we... All right, so I'll maybe zoom this in a little bit here. So, okay, so these are the first episodes. So, like, I mean, even the first episode, like episode number 1, it's been my most viewed episode so far, and like the most liked and the most commented on, the most everything. And like, I don't think anybody was watching when I was live. I'm pretty sure there wasn't anybody watching because no one knew. I think maybe a couple people did drop in. But anyways, so this has been the most viewed, but it definitely wasn't when that happened. So let's go into, you can see a lot of these are really low in terms of watch, like some like even like 9 views, 4 views here, because I was kind of all over the place. 6 views. But the one thing that I really kind of look for and kind of watch out for is how many people are liking versus disliking my videos. Like in all the videos, I think I only have like maybe 3, 4, 5 dislikes out of all the videos so far. So that's, I think that's kind of like a good sign. If somebody's going to take the time to be like, yeah, this wasn't what I was looking for, then it's like, okay, that makes sense. So July now, and see, look at this. In July, there was like nobody. So this is when I started going on this Monday mission report, Toolbox Tuesdays, Webflow Wednesdays, Creative Thursdays, Financial Fridays. Yeah, it wasn't jiving with me, and obviously not jiving with other people as well too. Oh, there's a dislike. So here we go in August. So this one, I think this one started to do well in terms of getting traction. So episode 133, building out a client website in Webflow, part 2. And then this one later, episode 131, updating our pricing table to simplify our Webflow development options. So, and I was kind of working on, I think this one was, hey, how much are we going to charge our clients for our work? And this one was, I don't even know what I was doing, building a client website. Was I actually working on a client's website? I'm kind of curious now. This is going to be a little bit of a inception thing here going on. But let me see what I was building. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was working on an actual client website, Lipids in the Ocean. And I was playing music in the background as well, too. So you could probably hear that, which I stopped doing. Okay. Cool. Anyways, so I think those are the two ones that kind of started. So you see a trend. When you teach how to create something, you have more views. I think I agree with that in terms of where people want to learn how to do something. Building a client Webflow, adding a blog section, how I made my first 100,000 in my first year of business, 87 views. That one's not bad. They're kind of up and down. I guess, one thing I could do is I can sort. See, I haven't even really gone into this stuff. So we can sort this by views here. And we can see, Sam, welcome. Happy anniversary. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you for stopping by. I kind of want to ask you how work's going, but I'm actually kind of afraid because I don't know if you have too many things that are that you're still working on that kind of make me feel like, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. But I guess if we start here in terms of which ones have been watched the most, building a membership website, building on a client website, Webflow component library, pricing table, migrating, building a hero section, building. It's like if I use actually, look at this. This is interesting. All of these ones that are most successful start with the word building. Building, and updating, migrating, building, converting. It's almost as if it's like these action verbs. So Rolando, I think you're right on the, you hit the nose on the head there with like teaching and learning. I think people are wanting to learn how to do something in Webflow, and your target is beginners who want to learn. Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you. And that's where I'm going to start off in terms of the content that I'm going to be developing here, the more long form content that isn't going to be on a live stream. So that's really cool. Yeah, I should take a little bit more of a look to see what works. But at the same time too is something Andrea told me, because I asked her, it's like, well, what do you think is the best? Like, what's your takeaway from seeing me do this every day for a year? And, as a person that's from the outside. And she says two things. She's like, number one, it's like the dedication to live streaming when like nobody was watching your streams for like the first 6 months or what have you. And then also saying that no matter what happened, it's like you're always, you don't pander to anybody, that you're always just going to, not try to chase the algorithm or what have you. You're just going to talk about the things that you want to talk about, the things that are important to you. And then kind of going from there. And I think that's a good point. But it also doesn't mean that you can't take a look at what has been successful for you on the past and just try to make sure that the content that you are going to be putting forth in the future, make sure that could still resonate with those people and kind of steer it more towards that direction. So So yeah, The Economist has finally come out. The data analyst, lawyer turned developer turned data analyst, or economist into data analyst. Yeah, and you think I would know better because I actually, my last title was a data manager. Yeah, was it a data manager? Yeah, I was a data manager, and then at University of Waterloo, I was like a data platform manager. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I was just wrapping up here on my key lessons. So number one, patience. Number two, I guess that kind of goes to what I was just saying. Just be yourself. Don't try to be anybody that you're not. Just do the things that you're trying to do. Try a few things. Don't be afraid to try new things. But just always be authentic to yourself. So that's something that is a key lesson that I've learned is just, I'll do me and I'll try to do the best work that I can possibly can. And then things will kind of flow through from there. You studied law and economics, 2 majors, and right now I'm working on development. 2 majors, law and economics. That's awesome. That's actually a really good combination. I don't know if I asked you this before, and I don't know if you would want to share this, and this might be a little bit too personal, so feel free to just ignore it. But what made you want to stop doing law and practicing law and move into another field? I have a feeling that you mentioned this before, and I do apologize if I have asked you this before. Because it could, yeah. I think I did ask you this before, and I do apologize because I can't remember. But I didn't know about the double major in economics, which is also really cool. Oh, and the other key lesson, and this is kind of the last one. Right. Yes. Boredom and defending back. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I remember now. Yeah. We were having that conversation about how do you defend someone that you know is guilty or what have you. Defending. So can you not focus your law though on like standing up for like good people and just like, hey, I'm just going to take cases that prosecute the rich, people that have been wronged have had wrongdoings, people that have been wronged. I think that's the right way to phrase that. But yeah, could you just be like that type of lawyer? Because isn't there, again, I don't know, there's the defendant and then there's the plaintiff, right? So can you just work for doing the plaintiffs and be like, I'm only going to represent people that, have been defrauded or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe there's no money in that because those people are poor. I don't know. And people that are rich are usually the assholes that are the ones that are getting away with doing crazy crimes, and they could afford having high flying lawyers. I don't know. Again, all of this stuff is from TV, which of course is 100% false. So I'm definitely not the person to know about that. There's no such thing. It's very idealistic. It does not happen. If you want to make money, you have to defend people who do not do good things. Oh, man, it's so unfortunate. It's kind of sad to think that that's how it is. And of course, since you've been out there and you've seen that, I don't know. I don't want to, lose hope in humanity in that sense and saying that only people that have money are the ones that do bad things. I don't know. Yeah, that sucks. But I guess what you're saying is if you want to make money in the lawyer field, in the lawyer space, you need to defend people who've done bad things. But I think to make money, at least for me, the way that I want to make money personally in this industry is like, absolutely, I do not just want to create some shady product and just try to scam people of all their money. That would just be horrible. I couldn't even live with myself doing something like that. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. So this is an interesting point here. Yeah, because even entrepreneurs, when they start a company, they have to learn how to get around the law. And in the end, they harm someone, employees, clients, suppliers. So I'll say for me, and I could totally see this. You start off with the good intentions, and then you're like, oh, how can I do this? How can I do that? And then you could just end up, is it like you start to compromise? And then before you know it, you've compromised way too far outside the law. And then, you take those little steps. But does that have to do as well with a person's internal values? And if you don't know who you are and you really don't know what your values are and what your morals are, and I think a lot of people, they don't have a clue really of what their values are because they never really thought about it. And then they let that happen. Whereas if you have a solid foundation for what your values are, you know not to cross certain lines. Yeah, more like compound growth. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I was thinking of something here. Shoot. Oh, because I know the one thing about, you were just saying entrepreneurs when they start a company to get around the law. So the one thing that I know that I want to do as an entrepreneur, and maybe you can tell me if you think this is a little bit shady or not, but I want to learn how I can legally, like 100% legally, learn how to reduce how much taxes I pay by using the actual tax codes in certain jurisdictions. So that way I can keep as much money as I make as possible, so I can go ahead and use that to return that out there to the world, in the sense of I could use that to grow my company, to put out more products, to develop better products, to hire people, whatever the case may be, but to do it completely legally. That's the only thing that I want to use the law to be able to figure out how to do, because this is a whole nother topic of conversation, but long story short, I believe my tax dollars in my hands are much better served than the tax dollars in the government's hands, which I find they just take and use to buy things and spend it on things that I absolutely don't agree with. So that would be the one thing that for me as an entrepreneur that I would want to figure out legally how I can do those kinds of things. So here in Mexico, it has always been said, Canadian culture is one of ethically correct and morally superior people. Some things Mexicans should aspire to. If you would have asked me that 10 years ago, I would have said yes. Yes, in the terms of that a lot of people here in Canada are ethical, but the more I've been digging into things now, and the more the way things are right now in Canada, like our government is so corrupt, it is just beyond disgusting right now. So for what it is for Canadians, and it's really bad. It's really bad. And a lot of things have been coming to light in the past few years about Canadians' values and Canadians' morals. Yeah, I don't know. Because when people are in good times and things are going really well, kind of everyone's happy and whatever. But when things are going really bad and there's bad times, people's kind of their true colors kind of start to show through. And there's been a lot of cracks in Canadian values and Canadians' morals, unfortunately. So anyways, we're getting all political here. This is kind of crazy, but the simplest way is to put your children and wife as employees of the company. That will increase your expenses and lower the money you pay taxes. So yes, so I've already done that in the sense that not my kids, but my wife, I do contract her out to do work in the company, which is helpful because it's an expense for the company, and of course then it's income for her. And I do know that for us, in terms of income that I take from the company, it is very, very minimal for both of us. So that way combined, we meet the lowest possible threshold of what income tax we have to pay as individuals. But that being said, I still have to send over a $10,000 check to the government just for my income taxes, for my corporate income taxes. And I was not happy about that, but I mean, I had no choice. Sorry, it wasn't 10,000. It was like 5,500. It was 10,000 was the GST, but that's GST. That's fine. That's the money that we collect for the government on behalf of them for like the taxes we charge for our services. Okay, the last thing I wanted to say in terms of the key messages is, so one, patience. Number two, be yourself. And then number three is when you're thinking about a business or thinking about something, focus on one thing and doing that one thing really, really well. And do that, well, not really well, but do it to the best of your abilities and strive to be as good as you can be. So as I said earlier, at the start, it was, I'm going to build this. I was building my portfolio site, and then I was building a membership site. I've done that twice now. Then I'm building this invoicing software for people. And then I just wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go. But now it's like, okay, no, now I have a clear direction. I'm going to build WEBFLOW components and a component library. Like, that's it. So build the best possible components that I can and keep working to do that. And that is the business. That's the one product that I'm going to focus on. Everything else is just kind of noise. Focus on that. And then, of course, there's the marketing aspects and exactly the minute details in terms of what type of components to build or whatever. That's kind of like more into the weeds, but one thing, and do that one thing. And then learn how to sell that one thing. Like, make the components, have them available for people, learn how to sell it, and keep trying to sell that until I get to the point where I'm making $1 million. I feel like there's no need to even try to bring on anything else, because the amount of people in the world that are out there that want to learn how to make a website and build a website, I think there's plenty of people that this company could be 7 figures with just that piece alone. So yeah, focus. Don't do 10 different things at 10%. Do one thing at 100%. So that's a key takeaway for me. So now what you should do is rent the work equipment from your wife's company or an external company to increase your expenses. Yeah, so I would have to, so I've heard about that, in that you have like your operating company, and then you could have another company that's, I don't know what the actual terminology is for it, but whatever, it's just some kind of company that owns the equipment, right? So a company owns the cameras, the gear, or whatever, the more expensive stuff. And that company I rents out to my company, well, this other company that that produces stuff to lower the expenses. So the question is, for me, I think right now would be, is it worth the cost of incorporating that company, doing taxes for that company, and maintaining that company for the tax savings I would get by having, like, renting out the equipment? I don't know if that calculation is offsettable, because I would have to say, in terms of the equipment that I've purchased for this whole thing, maybe like cash, like 20 grand, maybe something like that. So maybe that's worth it. I don't know. I really don't know. But I have heard of that, and I think that would be really, really cool. And then also it helps separate the assets from the operation. So for example, from what I've heard, is if I do something, say I make a website for a business, and they sue me because for whatever reason that website made them lose money or what have you. If they sue Pixel Media Corporation, if this company has no assets, then they can't sue me for anything, right? Because I don't own the cameras, I don't own the gear. Like, I can't liquidate the things that the company itself doesn't own, right? Because I'm just renting from, Pixel Cameras Incorporated or whatever. So that is pretty cool. And I want to learn about all this stuff. And I'm sure, and I guarantee you, we're going to be talking about corporate structures and all that kind of stuff too, within the next year. Because it's fascinating. I love learning about this stuff. I don't like doing any of it, but I love learning about it. So you know that the general tax law of Canada, but to date I have not established a company in Canada, which I want to do this year for preventative purposes. Interesting. Preventative purposes for, like, what is it that you want to prevent? Or is it just kind of part of your whole, your tax strategy for your business, or the business structure that you're setting up? Because the thing is here, corporate tax, I feel like it's really hard here in Canada for small businesses. So in any incorporated company, you're taxed at a rate of 15% approximately for anything that is under $500,000. So yeah, so if you make $500,000, you have to pay 15% of that. So like 75 grand to the government, which is really high for a small business. And then you got to pay yourself, and then there's taxes with that. I don't know how things work if you're crossing borders or whatever. So I've heard, I mean, you would know more than me. The political situation in Mexico seems we are on the way to becoming Venezuela. I mean, that is horrible. You don't want that to happen. Well, that sucks. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to really comment on that one. But I thought Mexico, in terms of your economy, in terms of your political system, was getting a little bit stronger, where things like crime in certain areas were starting to go down. But maybe that's not the case. But if it's becoming Venezuela, are you guys just, is the government just getting bigger and bigger and just going way more socialist and yeah, government's taking away control over small businesses and their ability to actually do business? Because that would be horrible. That'd actually be horrible. And then forget about your currency. Currency will just be devalued so much that, geez, yeah, that is just, man. Politics. So here you're about 38% with income tax less than 25,000 US dollars. 38% less than 25,000. That's less. So there's not even a minimum. So if you make less than that, you're still at 38%. So even if you made 10,000 US, you'd be taxed at 38%, which is pretty crazy. Although I don't know if the tax bracket here in Canada is much better. I'm just going to look this up right now. And again, the thing with taxes, if my taxes were actually going to go to getting actually good services, that would be really nice. A marginal tax rate. This is just federal tax. So we're 15% for the first $55,000 for Canadians. And then 55 to 100,000 is 20. It's got to be more than that. This is just federal tax bracket. Sorry, I should probably share this here. Now we end up talking about taxes. Okay, so this is federal tax bracket. So 15% on the first 53,000, then 20% on 53. So that's a lot less than your 38%. That's when you're getting to this level. But that's just federal. So you have to also add in your provincial tax bracket. So I'm here in Nova Scotia, and we're taxed like crazy. So you got to add in another 15% to the low income. So under 60,000, 15% plus 20. So that's at 35%. So, but for the lower percent, we're 15 plus, yeah, only at 21, 22%. So yeah, yours is way crazy. Yours is like way higher, which is insane. That's a lot of tax to pay. And I imagine you're not getting as good services with all those tax dollars. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Okay, so setting aside the politics and any of the crazy government stuff, if there's anything that, you definitely don't have to answer now, but if there's anything else that you guys would like to see in the coming months and say for even the next year with this live stream, please do let me know. Rolando, you're talking a lot about the teaching aspect and the ideas of getting more into the scientific or the analytical reason of why to design things in a certain way. So that's really cool. Is there anything else that you guys want to see? Do let me know, and I'll see what I can do in terms of keeping that in mind and keeping that in the forefront of where we're going to go moving forward. But what I do know, what I can say is, whoops, excuse me. Dang it. So what I did yesterday, actually, it was last night. I've been watching some tutorials on Figma and really understanding how awesome of a tool this is. Figma is actually really, really cool. It's like this mix between Photoshop and like WEBFLOW, because you can have kind of really cool interactions and stuff and animations and stuff just done natively within Figma, which is really, really cool. But I get it too. If you're going to be just a designer, that this tool will be like the last tool you'll ever want to use. But for me, I don't like to do like crazy high fidelity stuff in Figma because I know I'm just going to have to redo it all again when I go into WEBFLOW. And I think there's going to be some kind of bridging of the gap, which maybe that's what Framer is all about too, kind of bridging that gap. But then there's, again, other trade-offs, because something with like Framer is not as powerful as WEBFLOW when you want to get into more complex actual applications or integrations with third-party stuff, or if you want to build a more complex app. So there's always trade-offs in tools. Anyways, what did I want to say with this? So I actually purchased a 1-year whatever subscription to Figma, and I just wish I could just buy it for have it forever. This is why I hate subscription models. It just blows me away. I got to pay $200 US, and I get this for a year. Like, can I not just give you like $300 and then I get Figma version 10 or whatever the hell this is just for life? I don't need any fancy upgrades or whatever. I just need this. Anyways, so I bought this because what we're going to do is we're going to create different pages and whatever for what we need in order to design all of our components that we're going to be selling on Pixel Pieces. So they're all going to be here, so that when you buy the components, or when you join Pixel Pieces, you'll be able to access this Figma file. I'm not sure exactly how to give access or whatever, whether there's just a download link or somebody joins up and I can maybe automate it so that they can just have access to the sheet. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work yet, but that's just simple details we'll figure out. But we're going to spend the next few days really hard into Figma here and designing all of our layouts and everything, all of our components and the layouts within those components and the UI elements and all that kind of stuff. We're going to do that, and then we're going to put them into WEBFLOW, and then we're going to launch our site, and then we're going to make $1 million, and everyone's going to be happy because we're going to help people build the best websites ever. And yeah, that's what it's going to be. Yeah, so super looking forward to that. Oh, sorry, my comments aren't coming through in this other thing. So let me see what we got here. Better than we talk about taxes and establishing companies. I think we're getting away from the anniversary issue. Yeah, we are. But, that's kind of one of the way that I am too, is I love to just ramble and talk about all kinds of different things too. So I kind of find that fun. But yeah, let's maybe get on point here. What you would like to see? This is from Rolando. Sorry, I can't. My comments aren't coming up on my little thing here that I can't put them on screen. Apologize about that. What I would like to see is the creation of the Odumidika website as a personal brand. That's interesting. So that's what I've been going back and forth on, trying to figure out exactly how to do that. But I haven't figured out exactly how to do that. So I haven't done it. So I think there's going to be more on that in the future for sure. I'm just really focused right now on building Pixel Pieces and getting that out there and trying to make money off of that. And I think the personal brand, at least through this live stream, is where it's coming through right now. And I'm building it slowly through here. And then later on in the future, we can figure out how we're going to build that into something a little bit more in depth. So definitely something on my radar. And the fact that you'd like to see it is really cool. And that lets me know that, we're kind of headed in the right direction. So that's really cool. Prototyping in Figma is incredible. You'll get a lot out of it once you learn it. Yeah, it's really cool. And how things could even be responsive within Figma, it's really neat. So, but yeah, it's really rewiring my brain because I've always been, I love doing things by hand. I love drawing things. I love illustrating them. And then I just go straight to building it right in WebFlow or by hand in code or whatever. Never really like, I'll just do it in Figma and then jump off. So I just have to learn that process. And I think it's actually be really good for me to learn Figma and really help me kind of understand what designers might be looking for in a component library or a tool that's going to help them understand and learn how to use more of a developer tool like WebFlow. So I think it's a time well we're spent really trying to learn it. Sam, you can save local.fig files and share that one. Oh, so that's perfect. So I could just save that file. And then as soon as you sign in, you can just click here to download the link, right? So I could just post it up somewhere, which is really cool. So that makes it super easy. There you go. So that's problem solved right there. That was pretty easy. That was quick. No, that's really cool. And I guess the thing too would be if I'm constantly updating the style sheet or say I'm constantly updating this file, right? Because I'll be working on it all the time. It's like, oh, here's a new component. It's on here. It'd be nice if I could just save it. Oh, I guess it just like auto saves. But maybe if I could work on the file, like within Dropbox or something like that, and then it just auto updates on a file. Maybe I won't want it to be super raw like that, but maybe just if I know there's an update, I could just save it and somehow trigger like something to run automatically that's just going to take the file from my computer and then post it on wherever it's going to be made available to all the customers. That would be kind of cool too. I'll have to think about that. Small details, little things to think about that are going to be really, really cool. Yeah, I can't. This is going to be a good, like a really good February. I think we're really going to start to see how things are going to go here once I publish everything live and I actually start promoting Pixel Pieces, because I've done absolutely nothing with it yet. So this is going to be interesting. And hopefully it doesn't just fizzle. But even if that thing happens in the first couple weeks, I'm still going to be plugging away, and I'm not just going to quit off if I don't get a sale within the first 20 minutes of me throwing it live. Because things take time. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. 1 year, which is kind of crazy. Sitting down in front of a camera talking for a year. But like Sam, Rolando, I'm glad to have people like you. And there's Gavin, there's Kevin, there's Brent, Ninja. When we first started here, you guys kind of come in consistently, and you guys are commenting and engaging. And like I can't tell you, I just appreciate it so much because like I said, it was good at the start, but it was also a little bit lonely doing things on my own. So it's really nice that there's people to engage with. So that's really, really great. So thank you so much. And it's definitely extra motivation to keep going, knowing that there's people that are here along with me, going through the journey, going through the I was going to say the struggle, but what can we call it? I don't know, just the learning journey and the ups and downs of trying to better ourselves and build things that are helpful to people. So yeah, that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. Rolando, another comment here. Don't think about designers. Think about ordinary people who want to learn. There are more ordinary people than people dedicated to development. The more potential clients, the more money. I agreed 100%. There's those people that, are you thinking in the sense of there's people that don't even know that they want to be a designer? And if you could kind of educate them or nudge them into that path, be like, hey, have you ever tried web design? This is a really cool area to get involved in. So, and then kind of think about them turning into potential clients. That could be a thing. The one thing I will say I do worry about, it doesn't keep me up at night, but it's something that us creatives kind of need to consider, is what is this space going to look like when artificial intelligence gets more and more capable? Is it going to be something where you can go to some kind of AI thing and say, hey, build me this website, and boom, it's like all done, coded up, everything is ready to go in like a click. I think we're still a long ways away from that. Well, I don't even know what a long ways away is. But I think it's something to keep in mind, that in 15 years, this job of a web designer might not be a thing anymore. So, or what might be more likely would be that we are going to be the ones that are going to be using AI to do all these kinds of things. And then we're just going to have the knowledge in order to tweak whatever AI kind of spits out at us based on the requirements of the clients and what they want to have, what they want to use their website for. So, but the AI stuff is a little bit worrisome in terms of how it's going to disrupt the industry and our potential jobs moving forward. But there's always something new. There's always something to disrupt something. So I don't know. I have the silly idea that the new generation learning to program would be the way to help more people get out of poverty, at least in Latin America, where salaries are so precarious. Yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing. Wasn't that the whole big meme or whatever not too long ago? It was just like learn to code. Understanding, technology and understanding computers, it's the way of the future, whether you want to like that or not, it just is. So if you know how computers work and you can figure that stuff out, you're going to make yourself valuable to people. I think the thing is how can you as an individual gain some skills that are going to prove valuable to society and that other people are going to want to pay you for it? And I think it's a little bit interesting now as you're talking about. Sorry, we're totally getting off this anniversary stuff, but that's okay. We're just kind of wrapping up here anyways. So we're just chatting now. The more and more people are going to go into computers and going to go into those types of industries, the white collar or white class, laptop class type jobs, there's going to be a much more demand for those blue collar jobs. So people that know how to do construction, people that know how to be plumbers, electricians, people that know how to do carpentry, people that know how to seal a basement for leaks, people that know how to install roofs, people like all these manual labor jobs, I think they're even way higher in demand here in Canada. And people are making a killing doing these kinds of jobs. So I think that is a way how you can future-proof yourself as well if you don't want to go the tech route. Because the tech route as well can be pretty volatile. Not as much as just, like your service jobs or whatever. But if AI is something that you're going to be worrying about and that's going to be taking people's jobs, especially people in kind of that are not very good at the work that they do, these blue collar jobs that are always going to need people to actually do the physical labor and the labor that also takes a lot of time to figure out how to do and to do well. I think those are really important skills. Learning how to do welding and being like a good welder. I mean, these guys making huge amounts of money. And some people have built like 8-9 figure businesses that do that much revenue per year on these blue collar jobs of fixing people's roofs or fixing people's basements, all kinds of just manual labor stuff that nobody seems to know how to do anymore, so because everyone's going into the tech field. So something to consider. If I right now had to redo it all, and if I was young, I would probably think like, you know what, I'm going to go and figure out how to do some stuff with my hands, because we're always going to need people to do stuff with your hands. Anyways, that's just what I would do. But with my kids, I tell them to, right now I'm just trying to get them to do the things that they're interested in and get the skills in things that they enjoy doing. And then, of course, I want to teach them whatever the skills that they want to do to be an entrepreneur and try to make their own money and not be reliant on other people to give them money or to have your livelihood being dependent on. Because that's, I think, the biggest problem that a lot of people have, is that they're dependent on other people for their food and for their money, which just really sucks. And like you're saying, yeah, salaries are precarious, and There's just, yeah, a lot of people in poverty, and it's just, and like, it's sad, the truth is, but governments aren't here to help us. It seems like they don't care about the people. They don't care about the poor people. They don't care about the people just scraping by. Meanwhile, they're taking all the salaries that they have, and they're taking their vacations, and they're corrupt and giving their friends all the money and blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. But here at Pixel, we're not going to do that. We're all going to build super ethical and and good businesses that work for people, not against people. I don't know. This is getting a little too deep here. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll leave. I think we'll leave it there. If there's any other comments, just let me know here in the next few seconds or whatever. But yeah, this has been a year. Super fun. Grateful for everybody. It's been a blast, and we're just gonna keep going. And we're hoping that this next year is going to be, well, I should be even better than it was last year. Can't get much worse than last year. Again, doing the first 6 months all by myself, but glad that you're here, and looking forward to the next 12 months, which I think is going to be even more special. So thank you again, and we'll be back with our regular scheduled work and Figma designing and all that fun stuff tomorrow. So until then, have a great night, and we'll see you then.